Monster for Nothing.
Who the fuck is this?
Do you have any idea how many people you've killed?
No, I don't even know.
But you remember doing it?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I was engaged in a war, and the rules of engagement were kill or be killed, you know?
Monster Cody did an interview, and he said that he brought somebody's arm.
You mean to tell me that story is real?
Yes, that was Jay Blake's arm. It was real. He did bring an arm back. They chopped him up and put him in front of Jefferson High School.
A lot of homies said a lot of treacherous things about him. They were scared of him, homie. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Few of the big homies. I mean, men ain't supposed to be scared of men, but they was afraid of him.
When it comes to real street terror, Monster Cody is definitely near the top of the list. He didn't get the nickname Monster for nothing. He earned it at just 13 years old after beating a man so badly that his face couldn't even be recognized.
Where did Monster come from?
The name?
Yeah.
Because America produced me, but the name came from a beating that I had given a guy.
If he could do that to a random man, imagine what he did to his enemies. So when the deadly war between the A-Tray gangster Crips and the Rollin 60's Crips broke out, Monster Cody played a major role and was responsible for a lot of killings.
Do you have any idea how many people you've killed?
No, I don't even know.
But you remember doing it?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I was engaged in a war, and the rules of engagement were kill or be killed, you know?
That's why many people find it strange how he never crossed paths with Big U during that time, especially since Monster reportedly killed several of Big U's close friends.
Typical LA.
With Big U during that time, especially
Typical LA dude. Yo, this is a typical LA dude right here, bro. Insane.
since Monster reportedly killed several of Big U's close friends. Monster Cody was about 3 years older than Big U, and many believe that if they had run into each other, Big U might not have survived. Even though Big U had a strong reputation too, he wasn't on Cody's level. In fact, Big U himself admitted that things would have been way more violent if Kody had still been active, and he even called Kody one of his inspirations.
Kody was an enigma, man. If he could have stayed straight, he'd have been a mark. I look up to him. I got a lot of respect for him.
A-Trace versus Rollin 60's. Now, the war between A-Trace and Rollin 60's started over a girl. A fight between an A-Tray recruit and someone from the 60's turned into gun violence, and the A-Tray member ended up killing Tyrone, the younger brother of Big Rick, a well-known 60's member.
In 1979, along with Tookie's arrest, was the start of the A-Tray Rollin 60's war. So I understand the whole thing was over a girl.
Yes, sir.
That changed everything. Neighborhoods that used to be cool with each other had to...
You know them old heads ain't gonna lie about Nathan. Oh, so they say all this is over for pussy. Hell yeah, damn sure was.
Take sides, and old friends became enemies. Monster Cody was deep in the middle of the war. He shot and attacked dozens of Rollin 60's members. It got so bad that a woman named Elisa Burks McKnight, who lost several nephews to the war, claimed that Monster Cody captured one of her nephews, chopped him up, and kept his arms as trophies, and he was only 16 at the time.
Monster Cody did an interview, and he said that he brought somebody's arm.
You mean to tell me that story is real?
Yes, that was Jay Blake's arm. It was real. He did bring an arm back. They chopped him up and put him in front of Jefferson High School.
Not long after, Kody was ambushed and shot 6 times by 3 adult Rollin 60's members. He had been set up by some girls who were dating guys from his set. What probably saved his life was the fact that earlier that night, he had been drinking cheap wine called Night Train and smoking PCP during a New Year's Eve celebration. Because he was so high, his body didn't go into shock after the shooting. While in the hospital, Kody said he had hallucinations where he saw the faces of everyone he had shot over the years and also saw his baby daughter. He survived and spent several weeks recovering. Meanwhile, his younger brother Kershawn, known as Lil Monster and also an A-Tray, wanted revenge. On New Year's Day 1981, Kershawn and a few other young A-Trays went on a shooting spree. Kershawn shot 2 teens at a party in the 60's neighborhood, later killed another teen in a drive-by. He was later arrested and sentenced to 5 years in juvenile detention for murder. While Kody was still in the hospital, the same people who shot him came back to try and...
Yo, you catch your bodies and you only get 5 years in juvie? God, the 80s and 90s was something, ain't it? God damn, boy, the 80s and 90s was something. God damn, boy, a whole bunch of motherfuckers. Crack wheeling and coke wheeling motherfuckers. No crack wheeling, coke wheeling, and PCP smoking motherfuckers, man. God damn.
Finished the job, a nurse stepped in and saved his life. But once Kody was released, he didn't slow down. He went right back to attacking and killing Rollin 60's members. Monster Cody was a serious threat to the Rollin 60's, a true menace. But how did Monster Cody become the person he did? Monster Cody. Monster Cody was born Kody DeJean Scott on November 13, 1963 in Los Angeles, California. His parents, Ernest Scott and Bertie Canada, were originally from Houston, Texas. Cody was the fifth of 6 kids. He had 4 brothers and 2 sisters. Cody believed there was a chance that his real father was Dick Bass, a former running back for the Los Angeles Rams. He thought his mother may have had an affair with a football player, but there's no solid proof to support that claim. Whether true or not, his supposed father, Ernest Scott, held a deep grudge against Bertie over an alleged affair. He regularly abused her in front of the kids during Cody's early childhood. Ernest also mistreated Cody specifically, both physically and emotionally. He would beat him often and clearly favored his biological children over Cody. For example, he would take the other kids out to restaurants, movies, or even to visit his hometown in Houston, but he would always leave Cody behind on purpose. In 1970, Ernest and Bertie got divorced. Even after that, Ernest would still visit the family on weekends, but he continued to show nothing but dislike and coldness toward Cody. By 1972, Bertie had moved the family into a home near 69th Street and Denker Avenue, right in the middle of a dangerous gang-heavy neighborhood in South Central Los Angeles. Bertie was working several jobs to support the family, so she wasn't home much. Because of the neglect he felt from both parents, Cody started spending most of his time on the streets. It was around then that he began hanging out with his neighbor, Stanley Tookie Williams, the leader of the West Side Crips. In his book, Blue Rage Black Redemption, Tookie recalled how Cody was always around, watching him and the other Crip members hang out, lift weights, and smoke PCP. They would talk about their fights and shootings, while young Cody listened closely. Tookie would later say he regretted the way he acted around Cody, knowing how much influence he had on the boy. He blamed himself for exposing Cody to gang life and drugs, especially PCP, which Cody would later become heavily addicted to. After the war, Monster ended up getting sent back to jail again. Now, despite dropping out of high school, Cody found himself drawn to education while behind bars. Prison gave him time to think, and he used that time to read, learning about Malcolm X, the Black Panthers, and revolutionary ideologies that made him question everything he had been taught in the streets. He started associating with members of the Republic of New Africa, and that exposure pushed him to re-examine his purpose. It wasn't just about survival anymore. He wanted something bigger, something that mattered. His involvement in activism deepened when he participated in the 1992 Los Angeles riots, a massive uprising sparked by the brutal beating of Rodney King by LAPD officers. The riots were a turning point in LA's history, and Cody was right in the middle of it, standing with his people in defiance of a system that had oppressed them for generations. That, of course, led to yet another arrest. By 1993, Cody was sitting in solitary confinement at Pelican Bay State Prison, one of the most notorious prisons in California. But it was in that cell, alone with his thoughts, that he decided to write down his life story. That decision led to Monster, the autobiography of an LA gang member, a book that would shake the world. At the time, gang culture was still somewhat of a mystery to the general public. Most people only saw the surface-level violence, but Cody's book gave them a first-hand account of what life in the trenches was really like.
This book is 383 pages of reality. I'm uniquely qualified to write 383 pages of life for this generation, and that's what I've done. It's 383 pages of gore, no doubt about that, but it's reality. It happens every day.
Monster Cody and Tupac's friendship. In the early 1990s, Cody had begun going by the name Sanika Shakur.
You know the crazy part about it? As I said to myself, who the fuck is this dude? I don't know this dude. But when I seen pictures, especially this one right here,
Tupac's friendship. In the early
especially this one right here, I was like, this dude looks familiar as fuck. So yeah, I think I do know about this dude. I don't think I know. I didn't know much about him. But I think I've have like seen this dude's face plenty of times before for sure. plenty of time for sure.
1990s, Kody had begun going by the name Sanyika Shakur, and around this time, he became friends with Tupac Shakur. Tupac and Monster Cody didn't have a lot of public interactions, but one of their first recorded conversations was a powerful 22-minute phone call on October 18, 1995. This was right after both of them had been released from prison, and you could immediately tell how comfortable they were with each other.
What's up? You got two player. Hey, I got the message you was trying to send, but they had me on that Hannibal Lecter trip.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened, because they do that to me, too, when I was up in there.
During the call, they covered a lot. One of the things Monster Cody wanted was for Tupac to play him in a movie about his life, and Pac was open to the idea.
You know we start shooting the movie next month, right?
You do?
I'm telling you, man, I want you to play me, man.
I want to play you.
Okay, dig this.
Nobody play you.
I'm going to plug you in, man. I'm telling you, can't nobody do this shit but you. We're going to have that Shakur thing.
All right, I'm going to blow it up.
We're going to have that Shakur thing.
Hey, I represent it for you. I'm telling you. All of New York. I got all those New York dudes who hate the West Coast screaming out your name.
They also talked about collaborating on music, with Tupac inviting Kody to a studio to record. But what really stood out was how much Tupac respected Kody's journey and his book, Monster, the autobiography of an LA gang member. Pac had read it while he was locked up and was blown away by it. At one point, he recalled a moment when someone pulled a gun on him, and in that split second, his mind flashed back to Kody's book, where Kody described a similar experience in vivid detail. That moment hit Pac hard because he could relate to it on a deep level.
So when they pulled the pistols out, I swear on everything I love, first thing I thought about was reading in your book when you was talking about how you felt when them niggas drew down on you.
Ain't that cold?
Exactly how I felt. The setup, the shit you was talking about, how you just look up and the nigga be like, boom.
But the most important part of their conversation wasn't about movies or music. It was about change. Tupac had a whole plan laid out to uplift black communities, and he wanted Kody to be a part of it. His vision was to create a youth league with football, basketball, and softball teams for boys and girls, where each team would be sponsored by a different rapper.
It's like where we start like this youth league, right? Like football league, basketball, football, softball, for girls and boys. I'm going to get all the rappers to adopt the team.
The rappers would put up the money to fund the teams, while local churches would sell food during the games, and men from the community would handle security. The goal was to build a sense of unity and positive energy within the neighborhoods, and it didn't stop there. Tupac wanted to take things even further by organizing weekend block parties where big-name rappers would perform. These wouldn't just be parties. They would be strategic gatherings to bring people together and mobilize them for real change.
Then on the weekends, we have block parties. All right. Every rapper got to get up. Every rapper, nigga, if you got a record out, you got to get up for us. You got to come do a free show for the hood.
Once they had the numbers, they would register voters and take their demands directly to the mayors of different cities. The message would be clear. We have the people, we have the numbers, and we need things to change in our communities. If you don't address these issues, you don't get our votes.
And then when we do that, we register the voters. And if we can register them for Democrats, Republican, or Independent, then we start going up to the mayors of these cities and telling them, look, we got this many voters in this city. We want you to do this. We want a community center. We start hitting up Nike for the free clothes, the computer stores for the free computers for each community center.
Pac's plan even extended to addressing street violence and crime. He talked about going straight to the shot callers in different drug-infested areas and negotiating with them to keep the streets safe during certain hours.
We're going to drive to all these drug areas, right? Yeah. Imagine me, Redman, Tretch, Ice Cube, them type of niggas getting out, going up to the whoever's the main drug dealer on that niggas to dinner, invite them niggas to some Sean Perignon, steak and lobster, and be like, look, player, we asking you, not telling you, we asking you as a player to a player, can you please give us a pass to have these streets clean?
His idea was simple, but powerful. There should be no gunshots, no violence during those designated times so that kids could clean the streets safely. He also wanted politicians to step in and ensure that law enforcement wasn't harassing people unnecessarily during those safe hours. What Tupac was proposing wasn't just a temporary fix. It was a long-term strategy to reclaim the streets and empower the people. And Monster Cody was all in. He was ready to ride with Tupac on this movement.
Let that be for the kids. Let them the niggas be safe during those times. No gunshots, no drug dealers. From 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., y'all can have the streets back. But let us get the streets from these times.
During the call, they also talked about the idea of doing a book on Tupac's life. Cody mentioned that it'd be great to write it, and Pac, who had already been trying to get some...
This is why when people ask who your favorite, which one your favorite, which one the best, Tupac or Big, and Pac or Big, where it's gonna always pop. You know what I'm saying? Like, Big was different, but Pac was different. You know what I'm saying? Like it was always more. It was always more than what people try to portray him as. You know what I'm saying? That's usually how it goes. You know what I mean? Not usual, but usual. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want, bro, that's usually how it goes. You know, motherfuckers be off the chain and all that. Yeah, it be more the motherfuckers than what motherfuckers be trying to lead on. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, bro. Bro was just different, man. His mind was hella creative, bro. Hella creative, dog. So when people try to, face face his death and base how that went or whatever off this gang shit, it was more than that. It was more than that. It was more than that. Sure.
Something like that going, was fully on board. He called Kody's book a classic, but Kody told him that Pac's story would even be more explosive. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. Tupac's life was filled with enough triumphs, struggles, and revolutionary ideas to inspire generations. During their call, Tupac and Monster Cody also touched on one of the biggest turning points in Pac's life, the infamous Quad Studio shooting. Pac got shot multiple times in that ambush.
Into the murder of rapper Tupac Shakur. This is now available to the public. It includes pictures and video of the car Shakur was riding in the night of his death.
And it completely changed the way he saw the world. Before that incident, he used to put the movement first. He believed in uniting people, bridging gaps, and bringing different groups together for a greater cause. He didn't prioritize gang affiliations or street politics because he thought there was a bigger fight to win. But after that shooting, everything changed for him. Pac admitted that the betrayal messed him up mentally. He felt like his open-mindedness, his willingness to embrace everybody, was what got him set up in the first place. That's when he started leaning towards putting gangbanging first because, in his eyes, the movement had failed him. People he trusted had turned against him.
My shit, the gangbang shit, comes second to me. Right. And now I'm trying to make it come first because that movement shit will fuck you up. Movement shit got me loving every brother. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you need me, I'm there for you. You know what I mean? Nigga need money, a job, I'm with you. Niggas be come up to me with guns on. Niggas be hugging me with techs on. You know what I mean?
And when Pac said this, Kody responded with something that would later seem like a warning. He talked about how he always kept his circle small. Kody was extremely cautious about the people he surrounded himself with because he knew that the wrong company could put him in life or death situations. He made it clear that he only trusted a select few, and he was very intentional about who he called a friend.
I am who I am. I survived through what I survived through by being intelligent, by not allowing cats to outsmart me, put me in precarious position where I can get whacked, right? So I choose my friends very, very carefully.
Looking back, a lot of people found that conversation eerie because, in many ways, it foreshadowed what happened to Tupac. One of the biggest theories surrounding Pac's death is that the people around him, the ones he trusted, were the ones who led to his downfall. And that's exactly why, after Tupac was killed, Kody's first suspect wasn't the streets. It was Suge Knight. To Kody, there was always something off about the circumstances surrounding Tupac's death. Yes, Tupac joining death row and aligning himself with Suge Knight played a huge role in escalating the East Coast versus West Coast beef, but Kody believed there was even more to it. He later wrote about his suspicions, saying, "On hearing of his death, my first thought was that Suge had set him up. I had no evidence, but had heard that a feud was brewing over contractual matters, including Machiavelli's firing of his lawyer, David Kenner, and him wanting to leave death row to start his own label. I read and reread all the news clippings about the shooting. Things kept fitting ill to me. I'd read that he had no vest on and then saw a photo and vibe to substantiate this fact. Yet in my experience, Machiavelli went nowhere without a vest or his heat. And if his killers were the Southside Crips with whom he supposedly fought that evening, why didn't the shooter dump on every car in the caravan? Suge's entourage was allegedly made up of top-ranking blood Pyrus, so why would a Crip pass up all those points to shoot someone who wasn't even a blood? These thoughts ran through my head before I met the man." Kody actually went on to investigate Tupac's murder himself. That alone speaks volumes about the love and respect he had for Pac. Interestingly, Kody eventually met Suge Knight while they were both in prison. Suge Thug even wrote him a letter acknowledging his friendship with Tupac, but even that wasn't enough to ease Kody's suspicions. He remained skeptical, constantly questioning the narrative that was being pushed about Pac's death. Monster Cody may not have been able to bring his vision to life alongside Tupac, but that didn't stop him from making a name for himself in his own way. His journey was one of transformation, from a feared gang member and one of Los Angeles' most notorious criminals to an author and activist who used his own story to warn others about the dangers of the streets. Monster Cody's final years. Cody's later years were just as eventful as his younger days, though in a different way. Even as he tried to turn his life around, trouble seemed to follow him. In 2007, he was accused of breaking into an acquaintance's home, assaulting him, and attempting to steal his car. At the time, his name was already on Los Angeles' most wanted gang members list due to parole violations. Given California's strict three strikes law, another serious conviction would mean life in prison. That case was a major turning point. If things didn't go his way, he was looking at spending the rest of his days behind bars. In 2008, Kody ended up pleading no contest to carjacking and robbery charges. Instead of life, he was sentenced to 6 years in state prison. That same year, while locked up once again, he took a different approach to storytelling. He had already told his real-life experiences in Monster, but now he was diving into fiction. He wrote his first novel, Thug Life, using storytelling as another way to highlight the realities of street life. But he didn't stop there. In November 2013, he released another book, Stand Up, Struggle Forward, New African Revolutionary Writings on Nation, Class, and Patriarchy. This wasn't just about gang life. It was a deeper exploration of race, politics, and the social structures that had shaped his world. Kody was no longer just talking about what happened to him. He was diving into why things were the way they were. Before he passed, he was working on yet another book and was in talks with a streaming service to bring his story to life as a podcast. One of the most interesting parts of this project was that he was collaborating with someone he once considered an enemy, Leo Pretty Boy Smith, a former rival from the Rollin 60'S Crips. Kody and Smith had grown up in the same neighborhood, but they had been on opposite sides of one of the most infamous Crip rivalries.
The Rolling 60's was the largest gang in the city of Los Angeles, with over 1,600 active members, the size of an army brigade.
A-Tray gangsters versus Rollin 60's. For years, they had been sworn enemies, caught up in the never-ending cycle of violence that defined LA gang culture. But things changed after Kody published Monster. Smith, like many others, saw the book as more than just a personal story. It was a wake-up call. The two men eventually squashed their beef and started working together, a testament to how much Kody had evolved. One of the people who helped bring Kody's story into the mainstream was Leon Bing, a former fashion model turned journalist. She had written a book called Do or Die, an in-depth look at LA gang life, and Kody was one of the people she featured. That exposure played a big role in making his story known outside of the streets. Bing saw a side of Kody that many didn't. She recalled organizing a toy drive at a local hospital while he was in prison, an effort to give back to the community despite his circumstances.
I knew goddamn well one of them goddamn dogs ain't loose again. I got a smart ass fucking dog who just don't want to be dumb. She keep pushing the fucking fence open. After this, we gonna do how much? Yeah, it's over. We got check. It's pretty good.
Stances. She remembered him as an incredibly intelligent and well-read
What I was saying, she reminded me of a Madonna.
person, someone who was often misunderstood because of his reputation. He had been feared for so long that people didn't always see the depth of his mind. Fast forward, and Kody's story came to a tragic end. On June 7th, 2021, he was found dead in a tent at an encampment near the San Luis River Trail in Oceanside, California. His wife, Tamu, was the one who discovered his body. According to authorities, Kody had been dead for some time. His body was in a badly decomposed state when they found him. The Oceanside Police Department stated that there were no signs of foul play, and it appeared he had died of natural causes.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy. That's how it goes, man. He got him. Did what he did. You know, he did his time, whether he did what many people may think wasn't enough or whatever the case was, but he changed that shit, man, and you know, wanted to speak about it and wanted to shed light on other shit about it. So, you know, it at the end of the day, motherfuckers try to make it seem like it ain't what it ain't. But, it is what it is, man. Motherfuckers know what they sign up, bro. Motherfuckers know what they get into. It just is what it is, bro. Um, let me go check. Let me go check and make sure my damn dog's still. All I gotta do is splash the damn light up. I think I need to charge it. But hopefully I just flash it at the door and see if she's still in there. Then we'll be good. And I don't know. I know for sure we doing Steve Brown tonight. Cause like I said, we ain't gonna start doing the what I want to do probably until the next couple of days. So probably Sunday. Sunday we'll start the 4 to 6 hours of different streams a day. So I mean, well, 2 times a day. So it'll be 4 to 6 hours doing one stream on gaming, and then 4 to 6 hours doing another stream on reactions, and that'll all happen in a day. So that's how we're gonna start doing it. We're gonna start running it like that. Every stream. And of course, y'all already know I won't do every stream on Twitch. If so, we'll do like half and half. So we'll do 2 hours on Twitch and 2 hours on YouTube, something like that. You know what I mean? But hold on, let me peep out my damn back door and make sure my damn dog's still in the damn still in the fence.